Alright, so this one's another one that'll probably be going sooner than later, because I've got the Wonder and I like the Wonder better. But this is a Simplicity Verve, and the Verve was the third from the top of the line when these machines were still offered. The biggest difference is between this and the ones above it, which I can't remember the name of at the moment. I think they were the Moxie and the Gusto, or Gusto, or whatever. But the Moxie and the Gusto had a speed control on the handle here. So you had like a little touchpad where you could adjust the suction up or down, but the Verve has it on the body. Now, I know collectors have said that this was the superior machine because it was more reliable. It didn't have the electronics in the hose to fail. It just has, the electric current carrying wires, and didn't have all the extra ones that it would have taken to have the speed control. And I know the hoses were not particularly reliable on those. But one thing I want to discuss with this, there's a few things I want to discuss with this. First off, I know there is a broken screw well, and I believe it's this one right here that shouldn't affect its performance, but it's always worth noting. And secondly, the equivalent Riccar filter does not work on this. See, this is kind of squarish. The Riccar version is more rectangular. Well, I guess this one's rectangular too, but not nearly as much. And I kind of learned that lesson the hard way, because with them kind of doing away with the Simplicity brand, well, at least in terms of being these upper line machines like this, most places just carry Riccar parts. So I bought the Riccar equivalent, and I got it home, and I'm like, oh, this doesn't fit. You learn something new every day, right? But, yeah. Let's get to it. Alright, we'll start with just the machine, and then we'll turn the power nozzle on too. Turn the power nozzle on. Now, thankfully, unlike the Moxie and the Gusto, or Gusto, whatever, it's like we can run this without the hose attached to it. With the other ones, you had to have the hose attached to it to run it. So we can take measurements here at the body. I don't know that I'll be able to get a suction reading on this. I might try one of my adapters, like my attachment adapters, and see if we can fill that. So we might be able to get a suction reading here, but maybe not. We'll see. But we'll start with the flow. Good news! The same little adapter I used on the Regina in the last video fits into this, because the 35mm adapter is too small. Or actually, which one is? Yeah, this one does 1.25" to 35, and then I also tried my 35 to SIBO, and that one's too big, but this one works. So let's get a measurement. Now, before I do this measurement, there's something I want to touch on here. It seems to me kind of like Filter Queen in some aspects, like their upholstery tool makes a lot of noise when it's attached, and I think this is another one of those type of things. Maybe it's the narrowing of the hose, or rather this attachment end here, that does it, but it makes kind of a loud hiss to it, and that, from my experience with my previous Riccar 1700, which used, which was like the Moxie, I think. Yeah, would have been like the equivalent to the Moxie, second to the top of the line. It is normal for these, but I think it gives kind of a sense that there's more airflow to these than there actually is because of the noise it makes. if that makes sense. There we go. See, it definitely has a lot of noise to it. End of the wand. Now, I don't think we're going to be able to get a reading off of this because of its uneven. Yeah, not really. I don't think the flat end would work either. Alright, let's take a look at the airflow at the nozzle. Yeah, it's a gorgeous machine, but I mean, performance-wise, I feel that it leaves a little bit to be desired. I know there's a fellow collector who's probably not going to be very happy with me for this, but sorry, Rob. I mean, numbers are numbers, you know? And I mean, it just is what it is. Although I will say, I do like the agitation of the power head, but it would do even better with the machine that were just a little bit more powerful, which is, you know, one of the reasons I prefer the Wonder. I mean, you know, I could get the full-size nozzle to go with it rather than the tandem mirror, but I like the tandem mirror.